How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Kuf Gimel, and Daf 103 of Masechta BavaKama. Friends, yo. I know I'm about to laugh, but this is serious stuff. Whatever, I was thinking about something funny. Oh, okay, where are we? Okay, okay. BavaKama. BavaKama is Geschmack. Okay. We got a lot to do. We have got a lot to do. I don't even remember what this daf talks about. Oh my gosh. Alright, we got a lot to do. This is a big old daf. It's ready. It's almost 5 p.m. We're doing BavaKama now. We're doing Daf Kuf Gimel Masechta BavaKama. Alright. We got some work to do on Daf Kuf Beis and Beis at the end, and then Daf Kuf Gimel. We can get to between 5 and 10 lines down in Daf Kuf Dal. So we got our work cut out, but it's going to be great. Okay, we're going to start in Daf Kuf Beis Amud Beis. What is that? My beard? I think my beard's hitting my I don't know myself. Okay, all right. Okay. So second of the wide lines on Daf Kuf Amud Beis, Kuf Beis Amud Beis. Oh gosh, I hope I'm not going to get tired. It's not even 5 o'clock, but I'm just like a little tired. 1 second. All right, let's do it. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught Lokeach Sode Ua. Okay, this is Gewaldig. Okay, now I remember. Now I remember what it's talking about. Lokeach Sode b'shem. Okay, this is Gewaldig. Lokeach Sode b'shem Chavero Ua. Okay, so somebody Shimon purchases a field. From a guy. Okay, and he says, "Hey, guy, who's selling me his field, do me a favor. Don't write my Shimon. Don't write my name in the document. Write my friend Reuven's name in the document. Okay." Kilo, you're selling it to Reuven. Keep me out of it. Right, it's like that guy, there's like nothing shady going on here, right? Although, the truth is, the reason why he's doing it is because his friend, I guess, is a powerful we're going to get into it in a second, but we're going to get into it in a second. Okay, how about this? Let's just go weiter for a second. 1 second, okay, fine. Let's go weiter. Okay, so okay, so you have Shimon. Shimon is buying a field, and he says to the seller, he says, "You know what? Don't write my name in the document. Write my friend Reuven's name. Ein kofin oso limkor." So we do not force Reuven, the friend, to now sell the field back to Shimon. Okay, fine. Vim amarlo al minas. And if Shimon had said to the seller under the condition, I guess, that Reuven sells it back to him, we can get into the details exactly at this point, like the Gemara hasn't explained yet what this means. Amanas Kofin also Limkor, then we would force, I guess, Reuven to sell to Shimon. Okay, my Kamar. What's going on? Let's make sense of this. Amr of Sheshes says of Sheshes. Hachi Kamar, this is what's going on. Halokeach Sode Mechavero. B'shem Reish Galusa. Okay, here we go. So, Shimon's buying a field. And he says, you know what? Instead of writing my name in the document, how about this? Write that it's the Reish Galusa who is buying the field. Why would he want to do that? Well, because people are going to hear, the Reish Galusa that bought that field. They're not going to cause any problems. They're not going to, they're going to say, okay, they're going to stay away from that field. It's nobody's giving him a hard time or anything. It's the Reish Galusa's field. Let's not pull any shtick. So he says, don't write it in my name. Write it in the name of the Reish Galusa. And he's hoping that because it's in the name of the Reish Galusa, I guess people are gonna kind of, I don't know, not give him any trouble. Who's the Reish Galusa? The Reish Galusa is the exilarch. He was I don't know exactly, but I guess he was some kind of powerful figure in like the Jewish community over there in Bavel. Ein kofin also reish galusa limkor. Now, we don't force the reish galusa to now sell the field back to Shimon, right? Meaning Shimon's the one buying the field. And, just for sort of what's the word I'm thinking of? Just for sort of like secondary kind of reasons, but that's not the word I'm thinking of. Whatever, just for secondary reasons or whatever, for technical reasons, he's saying to put the Reish Galusha, name on the Reish Galusa's name on it. But we don't force the Reish Galusa now to kind of write a document to Shimon, so that Shimon can now, Shimon's got the paperwork to prove that it's his. But if Shimon said, I'm buying the field under the condition that the Reish Galusa write this field back to me, give me the paperwork to show that it's really mine. Kofin as Reish Galusa limkor. So if Shimon, when he bought the field, said, "I'm buying it under write it for the Reish Galusa," but it's only under the condition. I'm only buying this field under the condition that the Reish Galusa is then going to give me the paperwork to prove that it's really mine. So in that case, the Reish Galusa, we would say that the Reish Galusa needs to provide Shimon with that paperwork. Amar, we had just said that somebody who buys a field and he says, "Hey, write the paperwork for the Reish Galusa." Ein kofin also Reish Galusa limkor. So we do not force the Reish Galusa to now provide the paperwork for this guy who we're calling Shimon, so that he has the paperwork to show that it's really his. Michlal de mikno kan yolei. So the implication is that when Shimon says, "Hey, write the field and put the Reish Galusa's name in it," so it then belongs to the Reish Galusa. It then belongs to the Reish Galusa. We're saying that the Reish Galusa doesn't have to write paperwork to give it back to Shimon. Let's say that this argues on the Bnei Ma'arava that we saw at the end of the day yesterday. The Amri that they say v'chimi hodio lebal chitin sheyakne chitin leval habayis. Then we talked yesterday about the investor and the guy. So there was a shaila of, well, when the guy is buying the wheat from the wheat monger, so then how does the wheat monger know to be makna the wheat to the investor? So therefore the question is how does the Reish Galusa own it? Well, imishumha lo kash, but that's not really a question, because maybe my friends at Babylon Talmud are already thinking the same thing, but kagon to odai leval sode ve oda inu lesaide. Well, we're talking about where Shimon had told the owner of the field to write it in the name of the Reish Galusa, and he told the witnesses that it's going to be written for the Reish Galusa, so the person who was selling knew to be selling it to the Reish Galusa. So what's the problem? Okay, fine. So Elaima Seifa. Okay, but I'll ask you a kasha from the Seifa. Almanas kofin also Reish Galusa limkor. That if Shimon says to the seller, should we call him Reuven? Why not? If Shimon, I feel like it feels a little weird that we have a Shimon without a Reuven. I don't know why I did that. I don't know. I think maybe I thought there was going to be another character here or something. So now, if Shimon is buying the field from Reuven, and Shimon tells Reuven that I'm only buying it under the condition that the Reish Galusa is going to then provide me ultimately with the paperwork. Where am I? Kofin also Reish Galusa limkor. So then, if that's the case, that it was under that condition, then we force the Reish Galusa to provide the paperwork to Shimon. Amai, but how come? That's not fair. V'leima Reish Galusa. Let the Reish Galusa say, "Lo yikraychu b'inav, lo zilu saychu b'inav." Look, just leave me alone. Leave me out of this. It's very nice that you want to honor me to show how important I am, how choshev I am, that if my name is on a property, that means that the people are going to leave it alone. That's very flattering. But if it means that now I'm going to have to write paperwork for everybody who wants to buy a field and use my name, forget it. Forget about it. Just leave me alone. So how come we have to, this guy says, Shimon says to Reuven, I'm buying the field, put the Reish Galusa's name on it, but only under the condition that he gives me back the paperwork. Reish Galusa says, forget it, I don't need this headache. Leave me out of it. El Omar Abai rather says Abai, Hochika Omar, this is Pshat. Alokech Soda B'Shem Chaver Reish Galusa. Okay, so if Shimon is buying the field from Reuven and he says, hey, write it out to the Reish Galusa, in kofin es amocher limkor zimnachrisa, we don't force Reuven, the seller, to write another set of paperwork, this time for Shimon. Right? I mean, if Shimon's telling Reuven, write the paperwork for the Reish Galusa, we don't force Reuven to write Nachamol paperwork for Shimon so that Shimon has the paperwork that he needs. Vim Omar lo al menas, but if Shimon said, I'm only buying it under the condition that you provide me with paperwork in my name as well, Kofin es amocher limkor, so then we do force Reuven to provide the double paperwork. Once for the Reish Galusa, once for Shimon. So we just said, that if Shimon purchases this field from Reuven and he puts in the Reish Galusa's name, Ein kofin es amocher limkor zimna achrise, we do not force Reuven to provide the paperwork again, this time for Shimon. Pshita, that should be obvious. But, ma'odetema, may have thought to say, Matzi Amalei, that Shimon could say to Reuven, the seller, Meida Yodat, come on, Reuven, you certainly knew, Da'anu l'nafshoi shakilna. Obviously, come on, you knew that I was obviously buying it for myself. I was saying to write the paperwork for the Reish Galusa, but you knew that I was obviously buying it for myself. Ufnachya be'alma hu dikaba'ina, and I was just looking for some security. The only reason why I mentioned the Reish Galusa is that the people, nobody will give me a hard time because they see that the Reish Galusa is behind it. But really, of course, Reuven, you knew obviously, of course, that I was buying it for myself, Shimon. And I'm not just going to throw my money in the garbage. I'm not just going to, spend money to buy a field for the Reish Galusa and not for myself. Come on. So obviously you knew I was buying it for myself. Come on, provide the paperwork. I'm only buying it because I figured you were gonna provide me with paperwork for myself too. Kamaj Malon. So what it's coming to say is the Omar Lay that Reuven says to Shimon, sorry buddy, in Yona Abdi Loch Bahade Yahud Zavant Le Bishmei. I don't remember how to read this, but whatever. I know what it's saying though. Maybe it reads like this: look, I did business with you. Yes, I don't know. Something's funny here. Look, that's what he's saying is, look, Shimon, you asked me to write the paperwork for Reish Galusa. I wrote the paperwork for the Reish Galusa. You work it out with him. How does he read that though? Tomli in Yona Avdi Loch Be'adeu de Zavant Le Bishmei. Dag nabbit. Should I look up how to read that? Oh, fine. It's kind of reads weird. Okay, let me look up how to read that. Let's see. How does this read? Okay. Tomli in Yona Avdi Loch Be'adeu de Zavant Le Bishmei. For the seller may say to him, I presume that some kind of okay. For the seller may say to him, I presume that some kind of stipulation was made with the one in whose name you bought the field, and that he would write for you another deed. Thus it was never self-understood that I would write the second deed. Oh, okay. Meaning, Reuven says to Shimon, look, yeah, it is true. It's obvious. Yeah, obviously I knew that you were buying it for yourself and you were just using the Reish Galusa's name so that nobody would give you a hard time. I get it. But I also figured that you worked it out with the Reish Galusa. I didn't realize I was going to have to, I figured, okay, you want to play shtick, whatever, you want to use the Reish Galusa's name, fine, tell me who to write it to, I'll write it. You're Reish Galusa, I'll write the paperwork for the Reish Galusa. But I'm not writing it a second time. I figured, you and the Reish Galusa had worked it out and you were going to go to him. But, so yeah, I knew you were buying it for yourself, but I didn't know that I was going to have to provide all the paperwork. I figured you would, after doing this ploy, you would then work it out to make sure that you get the paperwork that you need from him. Okay, so Nona Avdiloch Bade Haud Zavant Lei Bishmei Bichtov Loch Shtar Achrinan. It still reads kind of weird, but anyways, work it out with the Reish Galusa. Vim Amalo Amanas Kofin Esa Mocher Limkor. Okay, now if Shimon says to Reuven, I'm only buying the field from you under the condition that you provide me the paperwork for myself as well. Pshita, that should be obvious. Right, meaning, so in that case, Reuben has to provide double paperwork. Pshita, that should be obvious. If that's the condition, that's the condition. Well, it's talking about where Shimon said to Reuven's witnesses, so I guess we're going to be writing doing the paperwork. He says to the witnesses, in front of Reuven, hey, I'm going to need another document also, this one written out to me. I may have thought to say that Reuven could say to Shimon, Amina shtar mea eich di koshakal bishmei ka omart. Wait, what? Kamashman da omale lehachi tarchi va'amri lehu le'edim kamoch diminachu dika ba'ina. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Fine. So tzricha da amalu l'saide kamedide chazu de shtar achvina kabaina. So madetema mati amalu that Reuven could say to Shimon, Amina shtar mea eich dika shakal bishmei ka amart. Right that. So I thought you were saying that you were going to get a document from the Reish Galusa, not from me. Kamash Malon the Amarle that Shimon says to Reuven, Lachi tarchi va'amrilu le'edim kamach. That's why Dafka said to the witnesses in front of you, in your presence, Deminachu dikabaina, that no, I Dafka want the document from you, not from the Reish Galusa. Alright, fine. If Kahana Yoav Zuzah Kitana. Okay, so if Kahana had put down some money for flax, okay? If Kahana had bought flax from a flaxmonger, and I don't know where I found this number. Oh yeah, Rashi talks about 4 and 8. So if Kahana bought some flax from a flaxmonger, and can you just use monger for like anybody who sells anything? Why not? So if Kahana had purchased some flax from a flaxmonger, and he purchased the flax for 4 zuz. Okay, I don't really know how much 4 zuz is in dollars, but anyways, the sof Iker. We don't say 4 zuz or 8 zuz in the Gemara, but Rashi I think was using those numbers. How much is 4 zuz? What's like a sella? Is it 4 zuz in a sella or 4 sellas in a something? I don't remember. Is it 4 zuz in a sella? There was the zuz. What is it? Like the zuz Medina and the zuz something else? Tzipor? I don't know. Okay, let's go fight it. Rav Kahana Yoav Zuzah Akitana. So Rav Kahana had purchased some flax from a flaxmonger. The sofa Iker Kitana. And then the flax doubled in value. Now, so if Kahana had given the flaxmonger 4 zuz for some flax, and that flax is now worth 8 zuz, Zabne Marvose Dikitana. And then the flaxmonger then sold Rav Kahana's flax. Now Rav Kahana never picked up the flax. It was still by the flaxmonger. And then the flaxmonger mongered it to somebody else for double the amount, for 8. Also, the Kami de Rav, so if Kahana came before Rav, Amarle ma'ayvid, and Rav Kahana says, what do I do? Because Be'etzem, he paid 4 zuz for the flax, but now what he's going to be getting in return is 8 zuz. So he gave 4 and he's getting 8. The question is that like shtickle interest, shtickle ribis? Ezel ishkul zuzoi. Okay, fine. Wait, where am I? Also, the comment Rav Amali Ma'ayve Ezel ishkul zuzoi. Can I go? Am I reading this right? Why do I feel like I'm like not reading things right today? So like, can I go and collect my 8 zuz? Because that's what my flax was worth at the time that the flax mongered it to somebody else. Omerle, ikiko zabne amre haikitono dekehano who? Well, if when the flax monger sold Rav Kahana's flax to somebody else, the flax monger had informed them, by the way, this is Rav Kahana's flax that you are purchasing. Zil shkol. Well, then you can collect the money from the flax monger, right? So the flax monger sold Rav Kahana's flax to somebody else for 8 zuz. If the flax monger had informed that purchaser that it's Rav Kahana's flax, so the purchaser figured, okay, that money is going to go to Rav Kahana, so then you can go and collect your money. Ve'ilo, but if the flax monger did not say that, well then, lo tishkol, well then Rav Kahana, you cannot take the 8 zuz because it looks kind of like interest, right? That you're giving 4 zuz and you're getting back 8 zuz. Kiman ki bnei Mayrova, it's like the bnei Mayrova, the Amri mi'odio leval chitin shiak nechitin leval mos. Right? It's like the bnei Mayrova that we saw yesterday with the wheat monger, that when the guy purchases the wheat from the wheat monger, right, the wheat monger needs to have in mind that the money is going, or at least the question was, does he have in mind that the money is going to the investor too? So here also we're saying that the purchaser from the flax monger he had to know that it was ultimately going to Rav Kahana. Otumi Yoav Rav Kahana Arba Vishokil Tamne. 1 second. The Gemara says, come on. Rav Kahana purchased flax from a flax monger. This is not a situation of, giving 4 and getting back 8, which you could be concerned about ribis. This is not that. Rav Kahana purchased 4 zuz worth of flax. The flax belongs to him. It increased in his flax is what increased in value. All he's doing is getting back his stuff. So to me, Yoav Rav Kahana Arba v'shakil tamne. This isn't a scenario where Rav Kahana is giving 4 zuz and getting back 8 zuz. No way. Kitanu memele hu de aiker. Rav Kahana had purchased flax, and the flax increased in value once Rav Kahana had already owned it. Migzul gazlu. And the flax monger then stole it from Rav Kahana when he sold it to another person. It wasn't his to sell. He had already sold it to Rav Kahana. V'tnan kol ha-nigzolin, kol ha-gazlonin mishalmin, shasak zela, that thieves pay like at the time of the theft. When did the fishmonger steal Rav Kahana's flax? When he sold it to the other guy. When he sold it to the other guy, it was worth 8 zuz. So Rav Kahana is entitled to the full 8 zuz. So why is Rav talking about, that the purchaser had to know that it's Rav Kahana? I mean, Rav Kahana is entitled to the 8 zuz. So Amri Osam Amone Havoi Velo Moshche Rav Kahana Le Kitono. Wow. Well, the scenario there with Rav Kahana's flax, he didn't exactly purchase the flax from the flax monger in the way that you might think, that he went and he picked out his flax, he paid for it, he picked it up, it's his. No. The arrangement was it was a thing. I don't know. Basically, it was a deal that Rav Kahana pays a flat fee of 4 zuz today, and that entitles him to flax no matter what the price is. Even if flax goes up in value, he still purchases for the 4 zuz, and that's what it was. That it was never actually his. He had never actually picked it up. He had sort of signed up for this deal where he puts down 4 zuz, and then he's entitled to flax at whatever value the flax is at the time. And when Rav L'Taime, Rav is according to his reasoning, Rav who had said that the purchaser from the flax monger would have had to know that it was going to Rav Kahana. Otherwise, we have to be concerned about ribis, because Rav L'Taime, Rav says, Osin amone b'peiris, v'nosin amone b'domim. That you can do this deal where you put down 4 zuz, and then you're entitled to flax, even if it doubles in price and it's worth 8 zuz. You can do that as long as what you're receiving is flax. If you put down 4 zuz and you get back flax, and that flax happens to now be worth 8 zuz, that's beseder. But if you put down 4 zuz and you're getting back the value of the flax, and you're putting down 4 zuz for flax, the flax monger then sold it to somebody else when it was worth 8 zuz, and now you're getting back 8 zuz, so you put down 4 zuz and you're getting back 8 zuz, well then we have to be concerned about interest, and Rav Kahana would only be allowed to accept it if the purchaser knew that he was purchasing Rav Kahana's flax, so that he had in mind that the money would go to Rav Kahana. Well, this daf requires a lot of koiches, a lot of koiches. We're ready. Yeah, these are big old dafs, BavaKama, big old dafs, BavaKama, big leagues. All right, we're doing good though. We're on daf Kuf Gimel. Masechta BavaKama. Like 2 weeks left. This is gewaldig. We're doing big stuff over here at Babylon Talmud. Big stuff. Okay. New Mishnah. Hagozel es chaver shaver pruta. Okay. A fellow steals from his fellow a shaver pruta. Okay. Pruta's word. V'nishba lo. And he swore. Okay. So Shimon steals a shaver pruta from Reuven. Or maybe Reuven steals it from Shimon. Alright. I'm starting to get shtickle tired. What time is it now? It's 5:15. I get tired. Alright, but it's alright. It's fine. I'm not losing my short-term memory yet. I think. Okay, so Reuven stole a shavuputa from Shimon. V'nishbalo, and Reuven then swore, I don't know what you're talking about. I swear that I did not steal a pruta from you. And then he admits it. And then he has a guilty conscience. And he says, you know what? No, I really did. I did steal it from Shimon. So Reuven needs to get that money back to Shimon, even if it means he's got to travel all the way to Madai. Lo yitain, lo livno, v'lo l'shlucho. Don't give that money to Shimon's son. Don't give it to his messenger. Give it to him. Avonosin l'shliach bezdin, but Reuven can give it to a messenger of Bezdin, and the messenger of Bezdin will hold on to it until Shimon collects it from him. That would be acceptable. V'meis yachzor liyarshav, if Shimon dies, so then Reuven should give the money to his heirs. Nosan lo es hakeren v'lo nosan lo es hachomesh. If Reuven paid Shimon the principal amount, but not the extra fifth, because of course, if you steal and then swear that you didn't, and then admit it, so you have to pay the principal plus a chomesh plus an asham. Okay. Mocha lo ala keren v'lo mocha lo ala chomesh. If Shimon says, you know what, forget about, you don't have to return the principal amount, but the chomesh, the extra fifth, you do, all right, just return that. Or if Shimon said to Reuven, you know, forget about it. Don't pay me back the keren. Don't pay me back the chomesh. Just pay me back this little shtickle that's less than a shavar pruta. So in all of those cases, right, where he doesn't have to pay, right, where he paid the keren but not the chomesh, where Shimon was mocha on the keren but not the chomesh, or where the only Shimon was mocha on everything except for less than a shavar pruta, eino tzarich leilech acharav. Well, in that case, Reuven no longer needs to chase after Shimon to return it to him. Nosan lo es hachomesh v'lo nosan lo es hakeren. But if Reuven paid Shimon back only the added fifth, but he didn't pay back the principal amount, macha lo ala chomesh Or if Shimon says, you know what, forget about it, don't pay me back the extra fifth, but the principal amount I want. Or if Shimon was mochel on the keren and the chomesh, just with the exception of one pruta from the keren, in all of these scenarios, tzarich leilech acharav, right? So then Reuven needs to chase after Shimon to make sure that he returns it to Shimon. Nasan lo asa keren v'nishba lo ala chomesh. Interesting. So remember, Reuven had stolen from Shimon. Reuven had sworn that he did not steal from Shimon. He then admitted that he stole from Shimon. So now he has to pay the principal plus a fifth. And then what he does is, so he pays the principal amount, but then he swears that he paid already the chomesh, even though he didn't. So now what he's swearing falsely about now is this fifth. So Areza Mishalim Chomesh al Chomesh. So now he's swearing that he did that he already paid the Chomesh. He then admits it. So now he's got to pay back the Chomesh plus a fifth of that. Okay, Areza Mishalim Chomesh al Chomesh. Achi Ismaita Karen Mishvei Pruta. Until sort of, right, so oh my gosh, this could get you into some kind of like infinite loop over here, but be'etzem he returned the keren. He then swore that he didn't return the chomesh. Wait, what? He then swore that he already returned what? He returned the principal amount. He swore that he already returned the chomesh, but he didn't. Then he admits that he didn't. So now the chomesh becomes the principal amount, and you have to pay a fifth from that. If he then pays back the chomesh and then swears that he paid the fifth of the fifth, but he didn't, and then he admitted it, so then that fifth of the fifth becomes the principal amount, and then if he pays that back and then swears that he paid back also the fifth of the fifth of the fifth, but then he admits it, he pays a fifth of until what he's swearing falsely about is less than a shava pruta. All right. Look, I like to keep things big and chunky. I can work through like hairy problems, but not when they get like into the nitty gritty, man. I don't really do nitty gritty so much. I very much like to think. I like to think of solutions. I like to work through problems, come up with elegant solutions and stuff. That's nice. Figure out how everything works together. That's good. That I like doing. I don't really get into like the details too. Like I was gonna say the weeds, but I was watching this interview recently, and this fellow who was like a little bit silly kept on talking about getting into the weeds. And just kind of ruined that phrase for me. But yeah, why am I talking about this? Because I'm avoiding going weiter because it's going to require me to use my brain. And I guess maybe because it's like a little weedy, right? And I was saying, I usually like Bashita try to avoid the weeds because I feel like the weeds isn't where you want to be. Once you're in the weeds already, it's like that's where things become like infinite kind of loopy, which is like what I was just saying a minute ago, like the fifth of the fifth of the fifth of the fifth of the fifth. It's like. I don't want to be in that infinite loop. I want to be in the concepts. Let's go weiter. So there's Mishalim Chomesh al Chomesh Achi Yismait Akaren Mishvei Pruta. Fine. V'chein b'pikadin, and also when it comes to a pikadin, right? If Shimon had asked Reuven to custodian something for him, and then he swears that he doesn't know what he's talking about, then okay, fine. B'pikadin, as opposed to says b'pikushanemer b'pikadin, what's a pikadin? Like a deposit, I think. Or b'tzumas yad, or like by loan, or b'gezel, or theft. Okay, I guess we talked about theft. Or oshak esamito. What's oshak? Oh, schar socher. Okay. Says Rashi. So okay, so in all these cases, if he where am I? What did I do? or if he found a lost object, and he denied it, v'nishba al sheker, and he swore falsely about it, he pays the principal amount plus an added fifth plus a korban ashram. Alright, let me pause the video for a second just to snap into energy mode. Alright, says the Gemara. Nishba lo in, lo nishba lo. Baram bam baram. Okay, I'm like totally stalling here because like, I don't know, like I'm super tired. I'm just like exhausted. I'm not even exhausted. I'm just like tired, and I know that there's like, we got to move slowly through this Gemara, and I'm just like, I know that I need to like put in like a lot of effort and work slowly, but I also know that it's going to require so much energy, and I just like don't want to put in all this energy, but I have to. Let's do it. I don't want to be complaining about this because we got work to do, and that's it. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. We're just going to go weiter. I'm going to put all my energy into it, and it's going to be great. Nishba lo in, lo nishba lo. Bam bam. So the Mishnah had said that if Reuven had stolen from Shimon and he did not, and he swore that he didn't steal anything, then he has a guilty conscience and he admits it. So then he's got to make sure that Shimon gets it back. He's got to chase after Shimon. Okay. By the way, remember the other day we had possibly our longest Babylon Talmud ever, an hour and a half. Just a few weeks before that, there was another daf that was like an hour and 20 minutes, an hour 18 minutes or something. I was at a chasana that I think I was reviewing that long daf at a chasana. Anyways, I just realized that the same cousin is making a chasana, I guess probably right now. Obviously, I'm not going. It's not in Yerushalayim. For me to go to chasana, it pretty much has to be in Yerushalayim. But anyways, I'm saying this because this is another pretty long daf. Like imagine I was at that chasana again. Like every time I'm at that chasana, we have these long dafs. This isn't even that. I mean, it's just a slow daf. Especially if you complain all the time. Nishba lo in, lo nishba lo. So Davka, because Reuven had sworn falsely, and then admitted it, that's why he needs to chase after Shimon. But if he hadn't sworn falsely, if he hadn't made a shvuah, so he wouldn't have to, I guess, chase after Shimon in the same way. Like maybe in that case he would be able to like give it to his kids or something. Okay. So Nishbalo in Davka because he had sworn. Lo Nishbalo lo. But if he hadn't sworn, so then we wouldn't have that same level of sort of stringency. Money, who is our Mishnah like? Lo Reb Tarfin v'lo Reb Akiva. It's like neither Reb Tarfin nor like Reb Akiva. The Tanan that we learned in the Mishnah. Gozal echad mechamisha. If a fellow steals from one of 5 people, but he doesn't know, v'niyodea me'ezemeyan, he's not sure which one. Dag nabbit. He stole from one of 5 people, and he's not sure which from whom. Which of the 5? And these bunch of shmendriks. And of course, everyone's like, oh, he doesn't know who it is? Alright, well, it was me. Everyone's claiming that they're the one who got stolen from. Oy vavoy. So look, Reb Tarfin says, okay, if these people are going to be so, like, look, this guy stole something. He wants to give it back. These guys are being a bunch of shmendriks. Alright, stealer guy, just take the thing, put it in the middle, walk away, let them figure it out. Right, so Maniach Gizela B'Neim Umistalik to Reb Tarfin. Reb Tarfin says, just take the thing, put it on the floor in front of them, and let them figure out who gets it. Reb Akiva Omer says, Reb Akiva, Lo zo aderech motziasu midei avere. No, that won't work. Ad sheyishalem Gizela l'chol echod ve'echod. Reb Akiva says that he's going to have to pay back all 5 of them. If he stole from one of them, all 5 of them are claiming that he stole from them, right? But that they were the victim of the theft. Well, in order to ensure right? Meaning he has to make sure that the lost object, or not that the stolen object, that the theft has been returned to its proper owner. And if all of them are claiming to be the owner, well, then you got to give it back. You got to make sure that they all get back. I guess probably payment. So Reb Tarfon seems to be saying that you just kind of leave it there and walk away. Rabbi Akiva says, no, you have to make sure that he gets it back. So who is our Mishnah like? Reb Tarfon, if it's Reb Tarfon, Afagav de Ishtiba, Reb Tarfon would say that even in a scenario where he swore, right, when Reb Tarfon says that just put it down and walk away, that's even if he swore about it, right, that he didn't steal it, just put it down and walk away. So clearly that's not our Mishnah, because our Mishnah says you have to make sure that he gets it back. So Reb Tarfon, Afagav de Ishtiba, Amar Maniach Gizela b'neimu Mustalik, that even though he swore, still that wouldn't make any difference. Just put the thing down and walk away. Reb Akiva, and if it's Reb Akiva, Afagav de lo Ishtiba, Amar Yishalem Gizela l'chol echad ve'echad. Now, Reb Akiva, when he says that you have to make sure that the victim gets it back, that would be even if he didn't swear. You would still have to make sure that he gets it back. So our Mishnah seems to be like somewhere in the middle. That it's saying that like when he swears, you got to make sure that he gets it back. If he doesn't swear, then you don't have to like be as stringent. So Reb Tarfon seems to be saying that in any case you don't have to be that stringent, and Reb Akiva is saying that in every case you don't have to be. You do have to be that stringent. I don't know if I put the emphasis on the right word there, but do the people follow what I was saying? So where am I? Avagav de lo ishtiba, Amar Yishalem Gizela l'chol echad ve'echad le'olam Reb Akiva. Ho ho, parara, param 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 param. Okay, so our Mishnah is Reb Akiva. There's a Gavaldig Rashi over here, to the left of where we are, and maybe about 5-10 lines above that. Le'olam Reb Akiva, ki Reb Akiva me'ikara me'adrinon le'ukmei. That we first try to see if it could make sense to be like Rabbi Akiva. Mishum de kulu tanoe stimta'a aliba Rabbi Akiva sasum. Because all of the stam tanoim were based on Rabbi Akiva. Who were Rabbi Akiva's students? Rabbi Akiva's students were Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon, Reb Elazar, and right, all of the stams. We're going to see this in Masechta Sanhedrin, right? Stam Mishnah is Reb Meir, Stam Sifra is Reb Yehuda, Stam Sifrei is Reb Shimon. So all of these Tanoim were students of Rabbi Akiva. So if we have this Mishnah, this unattributed Mishnah, we're trying to figure out who it is. Well, chances are it was from one of Rabbi Akiva's students. So we prefer to first try to see, well, would it make sense to say that the Mishnah is like Rabbi Akiva? Because after all, Mistam, it was from, it's one of his students talking. Okay, Gevaldig Rashi. Where are we? 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 Le'olam Rabbi Akiva he. So really it is Rabbi Akiva. Okay. V'chika Omar Rabbi Akiva ad she'yishalim gizela l'chol echad ve'echad. And when Rabbi Akiva says that you have to make sure that the victim gets paid back, and that when all 5 of them are claiming that they're the victim, so you have to pay all 5 of them? That's specifically if he had first sworn that he didn't steal it, like our Mishnah. Where am I? It's specifically where he swore. My taima, how comes Amakar? Because the pasuk says, "Lasher hu lo yitnenu biyom ashmaso." That you have to make sure that he gets it back, and that's in the context of this swear. When you swear falsely and then admit it. Okay. Reb Tarfin afalgav de ishtiba over Rabbanon takanto. Whereas Reb Tarfin says that even though, yes, he swore that he didn't steal it, but the rabbis make a takone sashovim, that they want the guy to do tshuva, and therefore we say, we're not going to drive you crazy, just take the thing and put it down. The Tanya, like we learn in a brayso, Rabbi Elazar Rab Tzadik Omer, takone gedola, hiskinu, the rabbis made a big takone, a big enactment, she'im, hoisa otza yisera ala keren, that if, going after, going to, I think that's what it means, that if chasing after the victim to return it is going to cost more money than the actual thing amount that's being returned, mishalim keren v'chomish lebezdin, so then just give the keren v'chomish to bezdin, umevi ashamo, and bring a korban ashram, umiskaperlo, and that is enough. So we see that even in a situation where he swears, the rabbis kind of take it easy on him because we want him to do tshuva, and therefore Reb Tarfin based on that. Reb Tarfin says, you see, we can take it easy on the guy and just put it down, and that's enough. Rabbi Akiva, whereas Rabbi Akiva argues and says, no, ki avud rabbanon takanto, when the rabbis made such a takana, it's heichad yoda leman gazle. That's where he knows who is the one who he stole from. That ultimately that money is going to get back to the person who needs it, right? Because he's giving it to the bezdin to hold on to for this particular person. The person eventually is going to come pick it up. But when he stole from one of 5 people that he doesn't know who the victim was, that we don't know who exactly to give it back to, takanta, the rabbis did not make a takana, and you can't just put the money down, right? Meaning, when you stole from one person, and the expense of getting it back to him is worth more than what you're returning itself, so just give it to Bezdin, and Bezdin will make sure that he gets it back. But in a scenario where there's 5 people, and all of them are claiming that that it belongs to them, you can't just take it and put it in the middle, because there's no, likely will not get back to the person to whom it belongs. Most of Rav Huna by Yehuda as a kasha. Amr Reb Shimon ben Elazar, says Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Lo nechliku Reb Tarfin Rabbi Akiva. Reb Tarfin and Rabbi Akiva agree al shelokach echad mechamisha ben Yudeh me'ezeh men lokach. If we're talking about a scenario where he purchased something, right? He didn't steal something, he purchased something from one of 5 people, and he can't remember who he purchased it from and who he owes money, who he has to pay. Shemaniach dmei mekach beineim umistalik. So in that case, even Rabbi Akiva would agree, sure, just take the money, put it down in the middle, and get out of there. You've done your bit. Where do they argue? Shegazal echad mechamisha bnei adam ben Yudeh me'ezeh men gazal. When he stole from one of 5 people, and he's not sure from whom he stole. Where am I? Reb Tarfin Omer, that says Reb Tarfin maniach dmei gezela b'neim umistalik. Reb Tarfin says, okay, just take the value of what you stole, put it in the middle, and go on your way. Rabbi Akiva Omer ein lo takone ad sheishalem gezela l'chol echad ve'echad. And Rabbi Akiva says that no, he needs to return the value to all 5. Ve'i salkadaitich, the ishtiba. And if it enters your mind that we're talking about a scenario where he had sworn that he did not steal it, mali lokach, mali gozal. So what's the difference in the ratio or the sefer? Right? Meaning, Reb Shimon ben Elazar is saying that in the Reisha, Rabbi Akiva agrees with Reb Tarfon that when he purchased from one of 5 people, and he's not sure from whom he purchased, so you can just take the money and leave it in the middle, and leave. But if we're talking about where he swore, I guess that he swore that he didn't purchase it, even though he did, well then he should still have to make sure that it gets back then to the person. Right? I guess some kind of a knas for having sworn falsely. So if we're talking about dafka where he swore, then what should be the difference if he purchased it and then swore falsely, or if he stole it and then swore falsely? V'od, and more so, Masiv Rav. Rav asked the kasha, Maisa b'chosid echod, ho. There was a Maisa with a chosid, shelokach mishnei b'nei Adam, that he purchased from one of 2 people. And he wasn't sure for which one from whom exactly he purchased. And he came before Reb Tarfon, this chosid. And Reb Tarfon advised, just take the value, take the money, just put it, if you don't know which of the 2 you purchased from, just take the money, put it down and leave. But and Rabbi Akiva says, no, you have to pay back both of them. If you're not sure who you bought it from, and they both say from them, you have to pay back both of them. So here we have Rabbi Akiva saying that even by a purchase, you have to pay back both of them. And if we're talking about where he had sworn that he didn't buy it, chosid mi mishteba b'shikra. A chosid, why would a chosid would lie falsely? What do you mean that? What kind of chosid is a chosid who lies falsely? Then he's not a chosid. And if you can say, well, that was before he became a chosid. Listen up. Wherever we say maise b'chosid echad, that there's a maise with a certain chosid, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bave, or Rabbi Yehuda Babiloi. Whenever we say there's a maise b'chosid echad, it's either Rabbi Yehuda ben Bave, who was one of the Asar Ruge Malchus. We're going to see a Gemara in Sanhedrin that talks about when he tried to give smicha to Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, Reb Shimon, Reb Yossi, and Reb Elazar, I believe. And the Romans killed him. Or it's Reb Yehuda bar Ilai. Reb Yehuda ben Bava, Reb Yehuda bar Ilai, Chassidim meikare, de meikare haba. They were always Chassidim, they were not ever anything else. So it doesn't make sense to say that we're talking about, that Rabbi Akiva's opinion would be dafka where he made a false swear. El-Elam, Reb Tarfon, he. So rather, our Mishnah is not Rabbi Akiva, it's Reb Tarfon. Umo de Reb Tarfon. And Reb Tarfon, who says that you could just put it down and walk away, he does however agree that Heicha de Ishteba, that if he swore falsely, that you would have to make sure that it gets back to the victim. My time, I'll come to Amrukah, because the pasuk says, La'asher ulo yitnenu b'yomashmasa. Because the pasuk says, by a false swear, that you have to make sure it gets back low, that it gets back to him. Rabbi Akiva says, Avagav dilo mishtiba, that even in a scenario where he did not swear falsely, konis, we still find him to make sure that it gets back to the victim. Reb Tarfon says, Michte, Heicha de Mishtiba. So we ask the question, Reb Tarfon, Michte, we say, Reb Tarfon, I don't understand. Let's see. Heicha de Mishtiba lo sagya de lo hoda. So when we're talking about that he swore that he did not steal it, so obviously we're talking about where he then admitted it, right? If he didn't admit it, So, and he just swore they didn't steal it. So as far as we're concerned, he didn't steal it. So Dafka we're talking about where he admitted it, but if that's the case, my area of Vinishba, then why is it significant that he Dafka swore? I feel below Shvu Nami, even if he wouldn't have swore, but he admitted it without swearing, he would have to make sure that he gets it, that the victim gets it back. Titanis, we learn about Mod Reb Tarfon admits, Be'omer l'shnaim, that if a fellow says to two people, Gazalti echod mikem, I have stolen from one of you, Mana. So he admits of his own volition that he stole from one of two people, Ve'enu Yodea, and I don't know, Ve'enu Yodea, I don't know Eze mikem, I'm not sure which one of you, Nosi lozem mana v'lozem mana. Even Reb Tarfon, who had said earlier that you just take the thing and leave it there and walk away, says that however, if he freely admits that he stole from one of two people, well then he would have to pay back both of them because he has to make sure that they get back their money, because he already admitted that he owes the money. So therefore, to say that the Mishnah is Reb Tarfon is problematic, because the Mishnah says that Dafka we're talking about where he swears, but Reb Tarfon would say that even if he didn't swear, if he admitted it, he would still have to pay it back, make sure it gets back to the person. Elo Amarava, rather says Rava, shiny mas nisin, that our Mishnah is different. They came into Yoda Liman Gazle, since he knows who he stole it from, Ve'odi lay, and he admits it, came into Efsher le'adure mamona lemare, since it's possible for the money to get back to the victim. Havale kimando omar le. Where am I? They came to Efshel Aduri Mamon Lamari Avale Kimando Omar le. It's like the victim had said to the thief, Yiyu li biyodcha, that okay, fine, I'll come back. Okay, hold on to it, and I will take it back from you. Hilkach nishba. Therefore, in a scenario where he swore falsely, even though Shimon says to Reuven, okay, don't worry, hold on to it, and I'll come and get it. Since Reuven swore falsely, he needs to get atonement. Well, he's not going to get atonement until that money gets back to Shimon. But if he didn't swear, have a gabi pikodin, so it'll basically be like he's a shomer, that he's watching it until Shimon comes back and takes it from him. That was Daf Kuf Gimel, Masechta BavaKama. Hope you enjoy. Peace out.